Long time no see, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be looking at some Dynasty rosters. We are going to be making plans for Dynasty rookie drafts and then trying to make some overall trades to be improving teams in general. Super excited to get into this. Make sure you're dropping a like. Make sure you're subscribed if you play Dynasty Fantasy Football. Let's head over to the flockfantasy.com Discord right now. Let's pull up some members of the Flock and their Dynasty team. Of course, if you not only want all my Dynasty rankings, also all the Dynasty rankings of your favorite content creators, plus if you want me to break down your team on a podcast or in a live stream like this, make sure you are signing up to Flock Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. With promo code FLOCK, that's how you're going to get all those perks. And also with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get 30% off any subscription. You can find the link in the live chat, find it in the description. But let's go ahead and let's dive into D's Mong's team here. Says 12-team Superflex PPR, non-tight end premium, 6-point passing touchdown format. Having a tough time deciding if we should go Bijan Robinson or Anthony Richardson at the 101. I'm not sure if my team is 100% ready to go Bijan. Love the content. Keep it up. Great work. No, thank you so much, my man. Yeah, and if we're going to be pulling up this team, I understand the thought process, right? I mean, it's a 6-point passing touchdown league where you're saying, well, Mason, it's maybe going to be a little more difficult to come by. Quarterback, Mason, I'm not ready to contend right away. Do I want to be taking a running back if I'm not ready to contend? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, oh my gosh. We had this question in the live stream of the main fantasy football channel just about an hour ago. The same exact scenario, Anthony Richardson versus Bijan Robinson at the 101. If you head over to Underdog right now, Bijan Robinson is the running back 3 in redraft leagues. I mean, I'm sorry, the running back 2 in redraft leagues. He is only going behind Christian McCaffrey at the running back position for 2023 leagues. Bijan Robinson is 21 years old. You're getting a top 3 running back immediately at 21 years old. I don't care what the construction of your team is. You have to take Bijan Robinson 101. Like, please do not think that you're so much smarter than everybody else. And I'm not trying to be mean to you here in particular, my friend. I've had a lot of people asking me this same question. Don't think that Anthony Richardson is that much of a lock where we should be taking him over Bijan Robinson. Like, Bijan Robinson's already the running back 1 in Dynasty. You're going to be taking like the QB 14, QB 15 in Dynasty over the RB1. Please, please, please don't do it. But let's dive into this team here in particular, and let's look at Trevor Lawrence and Russell Wilson at quarterback. We have no quarterback 3. Keep in mind, it's going to be a 6-point passing touchdown league. And in general, in a 6-point passing touchdown format, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be skewing away from those quarterbacks that drive the majority of their fantasy football value off of rushing upside. In a 6-point passing touchdown league, I think we're going to bump down Lamar Jackson, bump down Justin Fields, and instead we're going to be favoring those guys that can have the passing volume, just like Trevor Lawrence. So I really like to see these guys. I mean, I would obviously really like Russell Wilson to be our quarterback 3. I understand the thought process of wanting to go through and get Anthony Richardson. But like I said, I mean, I still much prefer bringing in Bijan Robinson, right? Because say we bring in Bijan Robinson here, and we've talked about this time and time again, because I understand that a lot of people who have Bijan have bad teams because you're in the 101, right? And it's like, am I ready to contend? Adding a player like Bijan Robinson fundamentally changes your dynasty team so much by sliding everybody down the pecking order. Like Travis Etienne as your running back 1 in Dynasty, pretty strong. I'm fine with it. I think he's a borderline top 5 guy. But if we instead slide Bijan Robinson there as the running back 1 overall, we are elite at the running back 1 spot. And if we have a borderline top 5 guy there with Travis Etienne at running back 2, we are set up perfectly at running back 2. Then you slide Antonio Gibson down where Antonio Gibson, Jalen Warren are your running back 3 and running back 4. And all of a sudden, you have a perfectly fine running back room. We have the production at the top end. We have young, productive assets that are not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. And at the same time, we have adequate depth to get by. Especially in this league in particular, where we only have 1 flex spot, adding Bijan Robinson puts us in such a good position overall. Now, going over to wide receiver, we're going to have Drake London, Jerry Jeudy, Treylon Burks, Mike Williams in the starting lineup. Going down to the bench, we have Gabriel Davis, Wan'Dale Robinson, John Mechie. So we're just fine at wide receiver, right? I mean, I would say Drake London's a wide receiver 1 in Dynasty based off the talent profile. Of course, at the end of the day, I mean, the situation's so damn bad. We don't know if we're going to be able to get by with Drake London as our wide receiver 1 in the short term. But I mean, if we're breaking this down, wide receiver, we're just fine as well. I mean, London, if he takes that next step, I mean, he can be a wide receiver 1. Judy can be a wide receiver 2. Burks, Mike Williams, these guys can be fine wide receiver 3s and wide receiver 4s. We don't have to have a crazy amount of depth. We're going to be able to get by with those guys that we have on our bench right now. So already, I mean, we are in the mix to contend this season. Obviously, we're not going to be the strongest team in the league. I can't sit here and say, yeah, we're the favorite, but you could see things breaking in the direction where things turn out just fine for this roster. Going over to tight end, we have Cole Kmet's there. I mean, obviously, we're not too excited about Cole Kmet. We have Hunter Henry down. So, I mean, it would be really nice to add in another tight end, but Cole Kmet still has some upside. You have to remember how damn young Cole Kmet is. And from a market share perspective, Cole Kmet was actually very good last year. The only issue is the Chicago Bears were just the worst passing offense the NFL's seen over the past decade. So, obviously, that just made Cole Kmet horrible in fantasy. But he himself, with his market share numbers, they were just fine. Now, going over to the rookie picks that we have, like I already discussed, we're taking Bijan at 1. If you wanted to do anything else and you're saying, Mason, you know what? I'm not ready to contend this year. I want to go through it. I want to avoid Bijan Robinson. Sure, if we were to do that, you're not taking Anthony Richardson now. If we are moving on from Bijan Robinson and deciding to go elsewhere, we would rather go ahead and rather sell the 101 and see what we can get in return. I had someone in the live stream about an hour ago saying, well, you know what, Mason, I just sold the 101 and in return, I got back Chris Olave, I got back Jalen Waddle, and I got back the 106. And I'm sitting there going, okay, yeah, I love Bijan Robinson, but if we can get that, I think that'll be just fine. So for instance, if we really want a quarterback here, right? Instead of taking Anthony Richardson at 1, and I'm not even telling you to do this, I'm just saying if you want to go down this road, you want a rookie quarterback, in a 6-point passing touchdown format in particular, how the hell are we so confident that Anthony Richardson is going to be so much better than Bryce Young, so much better than CJ Stroud? I would much prefer like taking the 101, trading it for the 104, a 2024 first and second, and then also maybe another young prospect that we're excited about. Maybe we go through and trade the 101 for a 2024 first and 2025 first plus the 104. Like if we wanted to sell Bijan for a package like that, that sets us up perfectly in the long term and we're able to accumulate that value. If we're not ready to contend right now, that's the move that we make if we decide to sell Bijan Robinson. But no, we're just not taking Anthony Richardson over him. Now, 203, 207. I mean, we've talked about the running backs and wide receivers a little more in depth over the past 2 videos that we've had with our historical scores of those guys as prospects. I mean, in general, it's very difficult to say that you're going to get anybody with the 203, 207 that we're excited about. I mean, if we're trying to optimize for this format in particular, because we only have 1 flex spot and can only start up to 4 wide receivers, I'd probably lean to go running back there. I mean, if you could get like Michael Mayer at the 204, I think that'd be awesome. Of course, you're not going to be able to get Dalton Kincaid, but if you could get maybe Michael Mayer and have another shot at answering that Cole Kmet question, I think that'd be great. But overall, I think we should be in a very good position. I understand that the wheels can fall off this train relatively early. Like say if Trevor Lawrence gets injured, right? And then Drake London doesn't break out, then all of a sudden you're saying, Mason, yeah, I don't really have a shot to contend. Then at that point, yeah, we'll start selling veterans. Then at that point, yeah, we'll go through and we'll see what we can get for Russell Wilson. We'll see what we can get for Mike Williams. But honestly, I think with the addition of Bijan Robinson, this team's actually going to be in a position where we could possibly contend this next season. And I'd rather kind of wait it out and see what happens at the beginning of the year. I mean, what if Denver just has a massive bounce back with Sean Payton? What if the Jacksonville Jaguars are a top 5 offense with Lawrence going into year 3? I mean, there are a couple different things that could happen with this team. But I think that's all we have for the breakdown. Again, thank you so much, my friend, for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. I really hope you're able to get something from it. I really hope that we are able to help you out in some way. And as always, if there is anything that I can do for you, my friend, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'd really love to help you out in any way that I can. And the Def Gaming says, just join the Discord and use code for a Mother Flocker subscription. Thank you so much, my man. If you just signed up for flockfantasy.com with promo code FLOCK and you want your team broken down on the Discord, let me slide this over so you can see. Go to the join here section, send your Flock Fantasy username in that join here tab. Then the developers are going to go through and they're going to link your Flock Fantasy account with your Discord account. And then they are going to unlock the roster submissions tab for you here in our Discord. And you just send your team in there, my friend. But please give the developers about a day to hook you up with that. It will take just a little bit of time, but we'll be able to get to your team quickly. Like, these are the teams that were submitted yesterday. Now, going over to our next one, we're going to be looking at Tommy. Thank you, my friend, says, what's up, Flock? I feel like we're at a turning point for our team. It's a 10-team standard Superflex, half PPR, with a quarterback rule that says we can only have 3 active quarterbacks on our roster and bench and a 4th on the taxi squad. All my 3 quarterbacks just signed some fatty contracts recently, so I feel like my picks, the 101, 4, and 6, should be Bijan, Gibbs, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. Teams 2, 3, and 5 need a quarterback. My team is very young. How do you navigate acquiring some veterans with our draft stock? Okay, so let's go ahead and let's pull up this team. And first off, my friend, I don't like the rule in terms of we can only roster so many quarterbacks. I mean, I understand it. I've been in leagues where people have wanted to do the same, where they're not used to super flex and they're going, okay, we'll play super flex. But I mean, everybody can only have 3 quarterbacks. In reality, it just like artificially changes the supply and demand of the position, where in my mind, it almost doesn't really accomplish anything. I would much rather just say, okay, well, yeah, we're going to play super flex. We're not going to make it a 2 quarterback format, and everybody knows the rules and everybody can go in, because then we do end up in this kind of situation where we have Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones at quarterback, and we just simply can't take another guy. So if we have a roster cap on the quarterback position, inherently these guys are going to be less valuable. Just because it's always going to be easier to go through and trade for someone, just because there'll almost always be someone in your rookie draft that's kind of in your situation, right? Where we can't take a quarterback at 4 even if we wanted to. So yeah, I don't like this rule, but in general, the quarterbacks that we have, I mean, obviously we can be very excited about Lamar Jackson. We can be very excited about Deshaun Watson. We can be very excited about Daniel Jones. I mean, if this is your group at 3 quarterbacks, you potentially have 3 QB1s here. I mean, there's not too much to discuss. And like you said, all these guys just signed massive contracts. I think we're in a phenomenal situation. And real quick, Gail asking 103 or Deshaun Watson. Like, for reference, I'd much rather have Deshaun Watson over the 103. I'd rather have Deshaun Watson over pretty much any player not named Bijan Robinson in this year's rookie draft. But going over to our next position, we have Kenneth Walker. We have James Cook. Love the nicknames that we have here. And then going down to the bench, I mean, we're sitting with Tyler Algier, obviously a big-time loser of the NFL draft. Rashad White, a big-time winner. Jalen Warren, a winner as well. So, I mean, in general, this team could use another running back. I mean, the NFL draft did not help us with Kenneth Walker, with Tyler Algier, both seeing great backs join their backfields. Of course, in the case of Kenneth Walker, he's still probably going to be the starter. The case of Tyler Algier, he has literally no shot. But nonetheless, I think that this is a team that at the running back position, we have a lot of depth. We just don't have that top end guy, right? Like, I'm never worried about going through and finding 2 running backs to start. For the next few years, we should easily be able to fill a starting lineup. The question is, do we have a serious player in terms of his upside where we are able to go through and we are able to say, yeah, he can turn into a league winner? I used to think that was Kenneth Walker. With the addition of Zach Charbonnet, I'm definitely not on that same level. Now, going over to wide receiver, in my mind, this is a league that highly disincentivizes us to build around the wide receiver position. We can, at the very most, only start 3 wide receivers in this league. At the very most. I mean, we were breaking down teams in podcasts earlier today where we were looking at leagues that you could start 6 to 7. We're going through and building around a bunch of guys that look like Michael Pittman, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk. It was a great idea. However, if we are looking at this league where we can only start 3 of these guys, we have 1 flex and 2 wide receiver slots, wide receiver is going to be inherently devalued because everybody is always going to be able to find someone. Now, of course, if I had to choose, do we want great wide receivers or do we want crappy wide receivers? I'd still definitely choose the great wide receivers. I'd still definitely take Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Drake London, these guys that should be phenomenal both in the short and long term. We just don't want to be building around too much depth. And honestly, we haven't done that. We don't have much depth at the position at all. So I do like to see that. Now, I don't know if you had a chance to read our Dynasty research book on flockfantasy.com. Go to bonus content, then draft guides, and then you can see my Dynasty research book there. And we talk a little bit more in depth with the numbers and the percentages on how we should be adjusting to our overall league format, which in my mind is the most important thing in Dynasty that people overlook. And essentially, the shallower our starting lineup gets, the less important running backs and wide receivers become, and the more important quarterbacks and tight ends come. Whereas the deeper our starting lineup gets, the less important quarterbacks and tight ends come, and the more important those depth wide receivers are. So in this kind of format where we are only starting, say, a total of 8 guys, I am all about grabbing the elite level quarterbacks and the elite level tight end. Now, we currently are in a position where we already have the elite level quarterbacks. We're just waiting for the elite level tight ends. And I think we go out there and we overpay for them, right? Because if we're looking at this team, I mean, we are about to bring in, I believe you said we have the 101, 104, and 106. So 101, we're bringing in Bijan Robinson. Like, we are all of a sudden going to have that truly elite, and I repeat, elite level running back that we're able to put in there. 104, I'm completely fine taking Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, if you wanted to take Jahmyr Gibbs and add him to this team and then go Bijan, Gibbs, running back 1, running back 2, and then possibly have Kenneth Walker in the flex, if not just a depth piece for bye weeks as well as a potential injury. I think after that, Jackson Smith-Njigba, while I love the guy, while he's a truly elite level prospect, I don't know how much he adds to this team. Like, Jackson Smith-Njigba and Kyle Pitts are ranked very close in my Dynasty rankings if you go to the site. However, in a format like this, where I think we need to be prioritizing the elite level tight ends, I would love to take that pick that would be Jackson Smith-Njigba, and instead I'd love to trade it for Kyle Pitts. I'd love to bring in Kyle Pitts, while in reality, it's not going to make sense for leagues where we start 11 guys. I think that'd be the perfect move for a league with these settings, especially when it's only a 10-teamer. And obviously, like we were talking about, depth really isn't going to matter. The primary thing that's going to matter is just getting the freaking best guys in the starting lineup we can have. And now going back to what we're discussing, yeah, don't be taking a quarterback at any of these picks, especially with this only being a 10-team Superflex league. Overall, I think it's a phenomenal team, and I think that we are ready to win right now. Once we add in those 2 elite running back prospects, possibly trade JSN for an elite level tight end. If you don't want to trade, say, I would actually rather trade Drake London for Kyle Pitts if we could, but yeah, that's personally, I prefer JSN over London. Can I have some help out with the live chat right now? I believe we have like 150 people out here hanging out with us, breaking down these teams. Who would you rather have in Dynasty so we can help out Tommy here? Would you rather have Drake London or Jackson Smith-Njigba? Personally, I'm going JSN, but maybe I'm way off because Drake London was a phenomenal prospect as well. But please, please, please let me know. Russ Baller says, I need advice, Walker or JSN and Penny. Oh, easily give me JSN there. Okay, it looks like most people would rather have Jackson Smith-Njigba over Drake London. Anthony's saying Drake London. Lou's saying JSN, but he's biased. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously biased considering the fact that I got to talk to the guy. I'm going to bring that up every single live stream for the next 2 years, so get ready for it. Now, thank you again so much, my man, for being a member of the flock. I really hope that this video was able to help you out some. I really hope you're able to get something from it. And as always, if there's anything that I can do for you, you know what I'm going to say. Reach out to me. Please let me know. Do not hesitate. Be really happy to help you out in any way that I can, especially if there's any way that you want us to improve flockfantasy.com for you, my friend. I will say we do have some massive, massive improvements coming at the beginning of this next week, though. Now, going over to our next team, this is going to be coming out from Who Throws a Shoe. Interesting name, my friend. But says, hey, Mason, interested in your advice on what we are want to be. Oh, dear God, that's embarrassing. On what you would want to do with these picks. This is a 12-team full PPR 6-point passing touchdown Superflex league where you're getting an extra 0.2 points per carry. Okay, so if we're playing in a point per carry format, this changes the equation for us. We are wanting to put running backs in the flex spot. If you were looking at the percentage of our starting lineup output on a week-to-week standpoint, running back is going to be incredibly important here. Like running back, we really want to be able to go through. We really want to be able to build around the top guys, not only the top guys, but also through those flex spots. I would love to be starting a running back each and every week. We are going into our third season, and we have spent the past 2 building, as I've made some mistakes in the startup draft, looking to compete this year. I included below 2 key trades I executed leading up to the draft. My gut is telling me to give in my roster, lean into running back, and take Gibbs at the 102 and get Johnston or Addison at the 107. Okay, so I believe this is a Superflex format. I don't think we can be going Gibbs at 2, my friend. I understand the thought process. We'll look into the roster in just 1 second. You know what? With this being a point per carry league, I'm not going to mind if you actually wanted to go ahead and take Gibbs. But if you remember, I mean, point per carry is also going to impact what you're going to be getting with, say, I don't know, maybe the quarterback position. If Anthony Richardson goes out there and has 100 carries this next year, Anthony Richardson's going to be picking up a decent amount of points in that format as well. So I definitely say if we're playing a point per carry league, I'm taking Richardson over Bryce Young. But nonetheless, getting back to it, then go quarterback next year. Do you think it's a solid plan, or am I better off going Richardson at the 102? Young and Stroud are gone at the 103 and 104 in this league. I don't think Gibbs survives until the 107, but I've noticed people in this league are low on Richardson, so he may be there at the 107. There's no shot Anthony Richardson's going to be there at the 107, my friend. I mean, whatever your league mates are telling you, they're lying to you. But let's go ahead and let's dive into some of these trades. So first trade that we will be looking at, I apologize, wrong button there. This is going to be a deal where we added on Kirk Cousins and Jordan Love. So we get 2 starters essentially for the 106. 106, that's Jackson Smith and Jigba in this format. Would I rather have JSN or Cousins versus Jordan Love? Kind of up to your roster. We'll see what it looks like. Now, going over to our next deal, we're going to be looking at us getting the 107, which is most likely going to be Quentin Johnston. And we essentially trade away a 2025 first for it. If this team's good, I'm fine with it. But I'm always a little worried about trading away a 2025 first. Can y'all please let me know in the live chat real quick? Can y'all help out? Who throws the shoe? What would you rather have? Would you rather have Kirk Cousins and Jordan Love or the 106? So would you rather have Cousins and Love or Jackson Smith and Jigba? That's essentially this deal. Cousins and Love or JSN. Please spam the chat. Let me know what y'all want. Y'all know I'm a little biased on that front, but okay. Anthony says 106. Okay, so it looks like a lot of people would rather have the 106 there. Let's go ahead and let's pull up the league. Let's pull up the overall settings that we have. Maybe that has an impact on what we are wanting. But okay, so quarterback, we're going to be rolling with Kyler Murray in the starting lineup with Kirk Cousins. So we'll be starting 1 quarterback, 1 super flex, 2 flexes, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a tight end. So, I mean, we are going to be sitting here starting, I believe, a total of 9 guys. So, yeah, quarterback's going to make up a very high percentage of our starting lineup output on a week-to-week basis. Down there on the bench, we'd have Jordan Love as our quarterback 3. So, I understand the thought process. I mean, before we made that Jackson Smith and Jigba deal, we didn't have a single quarterback outside of Kyler Murray, who's most likely going to be missing the beginning of the year. So I understand the thought process there, even if I do love Jackson Smith and Jigba. And in general, with these quarterbacks, I mean, I'm fine with them. I don't think we need to be saying, oh, okay, yeah, we have to upgrade. Like Kyler Murray, especially with how he's won this offseason, kind of. Obviously, he's injured, but you get the best offensive tackle in the draft going to Arizona. You get an additional pick that should be very high in next year's draft to help out the Arizona Cardinals. And Hopkins may be staying. Kyler Murray's looking like he's in a better situation now than you thought he was going to be in. Now, Kirk Cousins over there in the Superflex. I mean, you're kind of fine with Cousins as a QB2, right? But we just have to be realistic with Kirk Cousins going forward. I mean, it's not like Cousins is ever going to be a top 5 quarterback in fantasy. You just have to realize, yeah, we're taking someone here given the high floor that they give us. Right now, I believe he's going as the quarterback 13 on Underdog, though. Now, down there, quarterback 3, Jordan Love's fine guy to have his QB3. I have no idea. I mean, if you're a big Jordan Love fanboy, go for him. I just don't know, to be completely honest. Like, we've seen Jordan Love in very, very limited action. He doesn't have much rushing upside. I don't want to say he's overvalued. I don't want to say he's undervalued in fantasy. It's just very difficult to have a take on him in general. Now, going over to what we are going to have at running back, this is where we need to be building around in a point per carry format. We have Kenneth Walker, who gets hit by the NFL draft. We have Josh Jacobs, obviously, who dominates this past season, especially in this format. He had been putting up 1 million points. But then we don't really have anybody behind that. I mean, we have Isaiah Pacheco in the flex spot, but I really would like to have a couple more running backs that we can feel comfortable starting each and every week. Like, I don't want to have to rely on a player like Elijah Moore in the flex. Going over to wide receiver, we have Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins in the starting lineup. Then going down to the bench, I mean, we really don't have much wide receiver depth. Tight end, we have Pat Freiermuth, David Njoku, so I'm fine at tight end. So it is going to be incredibly important to get this rookie draft right. I honestly really don't like the fact that we traded away our 2025 first. What I would have rather done is plan on being a contending team this next season, and then in 2024 looking to tear it down, right? Because if we're thinking about how this team looks in the long term, well, right now we look fine. Right now, I think we can be excited and we can view ourselves as a contender once we add in those pieces in this year's rookie draft. Keenan Allen's not doing anything for us in 2024. Hopkins is most likely not doing anything for us in 2024. Those were players drafted in 2013. They're going into year 10 of their NFL careers. Like, it is very difficult for us to say that we should stand by those wide receivers and say that they will give us anything a year from now. Isaiah Pacheco's a running back that doesn't really have any team investment. Who knows what Pacheco will be in 2024? Josh Jacobs is playing under the franchise tag this year. He'll have a second deal in 2024. You don't really know what to expect. There's just so much uncertainty with this team for the 2024 season. What I would have preferred to do in a vacuum is I would have preferred to go through and push to win this year while we have these veteran assets producing. And then in the 2024 season, burn it down. In the 2024 season, burn it down, sell the veteran for scraps, get the 101 in 2025, and look to start fresh then. However, we don't have that luxury, right? So we are going to be in a position where we are going to have to try to not only contend this season, but also remain competitive in 2024 because we don't have our 2025 first round pick. So we're going to have to make sure that this team can stick around in contention over the next 2 years. And going over to the rookie picks to try to help us out with that, I think we have to go Anthony Richardson at 2. We were just talking about with the team before this, someone trying to take Anthony Richardson over Bijan Robinson. I thought that was crazy. There's no reason anybody should ever be doing that. In this kind of format where it's points per carry and 6 points per passing touchdown, Anthony Richardson is a quarterback that will have so much upside both for this season and next year. Now, 107, you're most likely going to be coming away with Quentin Johnston. Now, of course, if a top 6 player falls to you, we'll take him. That top 6 being Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs at running back, Young, Richardson, Stroud at quarterback, and Jackson Smith and Jigba at wide receiver. If one of those top 6 falls, we'll go with them. But in reality, what we're probably going to be looking at will be Quentin Johnston. Now, adding those guys to this team, I think this team will be competitive this next year, right? Because I think we can safely say quarterback, we're going to be great. We're going to be putting up a ton of points. We don't really know who we're going to be starting each and every week, but we'll figure it out. We'll play the matchups with Kyler, Cousins, Love, and Richardson. And once Kyler is healthy, then at that point, we could look to possibly go through and sell Kirk Cousins, sell Jordan Love, sell one of those guys for a player that we actually may be able to put in our starting lineup at wide receiver for the next few years. At running back, we'll be strong enough to get by with Walker, Jacobs, Pacheco. Wide receiver with Allen, Hopkins, and then maybe, say, Quentin Johnston will also be fine. We'll have the depth of an Elijah Moore. I think the play is to take Richardson, Johnston, 102, 107, wait until Kyler's fully healthy, then during the season look to sell one of the veteran quarterbacks. Maybe for a running back we can feel comfortable putting in the flex spot, given the fact it's a points per carry league, or maybe a wide receiver that we're also excited about. Now, I think that should be it. Again, thank you so much, my friend, for being a member of the flock and supporting the channel. I really hope that this was able to help you out in some way. I really hope you're able to get something from it. And as always, you know what I'm going to say. Say it every time. If there's anything that I can do for you, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and let me know. I'd be really happy to help out any way that I can, my friend. Thank you so much for everything. But we have a question coming out from Chad. Says, how do we get you to look at our roster? Okay, let's walk through this. Couple steps. 1, sign up for flockfantasy.com, Mother Flocker package, promo code FLOCK. If you want me to look at your roster, promo code FLOCK, and you're also going to get 30% off any subscription there. Once you join, then join our Discord and send your Flock Fantasy username in the Join Here tab. You can see it right here. We're hovering over it. Then, once you send your username in the Join Here tab, Give the developers about a day. They'll then go through and link your Discord as well as your flockfantasy.com account. And then you'll have access to our roster submissions tab. You send your team in there, my friend, and then I'll go through, break it down either on a live stream or in a personalized podcast. Wherever I do it, I will be for sure to send you a DM with it. But thank you so much again, my man. But I think we should be good to dive into Josh's team here. Thank you, Josh. We have a ton of rookie picks to be looking at. 12-team Superflex half PPR. We have the 101, 104, 105, 107, 108 this year, and future first-round picks. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be a monster. I think I'm in a decent position to seriously contend for the next few years. What suggestions do you have? Our rookie draft isn't until normal leagues, 3 to 4, about right before the season starts. Honestly, it's how most people used to play Dynasty, is they used to wait until you had the preseason and then they would do their rookie drafts. What's actually funny is it caused a lot of people to make some very bad draft picks over the years. I mean, you had guys like Kenneth Dixon getting pushed up. I mean, if y'all remember, God, I was just thinking about this guy. Please, this is like an interesting trivia thing. Please, please, please. I don't know what exactly I'll give you. I'll give you a ton of props if you can remember who I'm talking about. Who is the rookie wide receiver that was a third-round draft pick by the Tennessee Titans back in, I want to say, 2016? That had the phenomenal training camp. It got pushed up to the first round of Dynasty rookie drafts, where he had like a really bad profile and he did literally nothing, but he was being drafted ahead of some phenomenal prospects. I think it's... Okay, I found it. I want to see. Okay, double P coming out. Got it. Tajay Sharp. Oh, yeah. I mean, just really funny. Yeah, it was 2016. I'm sorry. He wasn't even a third round pick. I was giving the Dynasty community the benefit of the doubt. He was a 5th round pick, but yeah, Dorial Green Beckham, I mean, had a lot of hype. I mean, I'm talking about someone that was just coming from absolutely nowhere that people were getting excited about. Double P. I love it, my man. Love it. But anyway, yeah, so let's go ahead and let's dive into this team. It's just more so reminiscing of how people used to have their Dynasty rookie drafts then. I think I'm in a decent position to seriously contend for the next few years. Yeah, with these rookie picks, I would imagine. But what suggestions do you have? Our rookie draft isn't until normal redraft leagues, which may push me to wait quite a bit before moving any picks, since we have a lot of info about, 1, how is Lance doing? 2, do I need to trade for a second quarterback or just draft one? Okay. Now, I am no psychic, my friend. I mean, I'm not usually able to look into the future with the majority of situations, with the majority of players, but I went and saw the Oracle, similar to Neo in the Matrix. And I actually have really good news for everybody here. Trey Lance will be doing phenomenal. Okay? He'll be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. He'll be a top 10 quarterback in fantasy. And everybody with Trey Lance on their teams will be printing money. Now, of course, I'm being serious. Unless I am wrong, then I was joking. But, yeah, I mean, we will right now plan out what we're going to be doing. Anyway, at quarterback, we have Patrick Mahomes. Going down to the Superflex, we have Trey Lance. In my mind, all jokes aside, I think Lance is going to be a starting quarterback this next year. I say it over and over and over again, but it's really important. Since the year 2000, there have been 2 quarterbacks drafted inside the top 3 picks to start fewer than 40 games. That was RG3, just devastated with injuries, and then Jamarcus Russell, who is the biggest bust in NFL history, who started 25 games. The fewest amount of games started by a quarterback was 25. So I don't know if Lance will for sure be starting for the San Francisco 49ers, but historically speaking, unless he is the biggest bust of all time, Trey Lance will be a starting quarterback somewhere, and Trey Lance will have a ton of rushing upside. So if my quarterback room was Patrick Mahomes and Trey Lance, I would be over the moon excited about it, my friend. But keep in mind, I have Lance in a lot of leagues. I have Patrick Mahomes and Lance in a lot of leagues. So, I mean, maybe I'm a little biased. Going over to running back, we have Breece Hall, DeAndre Swift. So Breece Hall, running back 2 in Dynasty, not too much to discuss. In the case of DeAndre Swift, this is a running back that I understand he goes to a much better offense in Philadelphia, but I still lowered him down my rankings a decent bit. Has 1 year left on his deal. And what I'm most concerned about is the guys that were in the room with him, the guys that get to see him every single day, they were able to say, yeah, DeAndre is so bad, we're going to sell him for a 4th round pick. And in return, we're going to go take Jahmyr Gibbs at pick 12. So naturally, I'm just a little scared. I just think maybe DeAndre Swift isn't as good as I initially gave him credit for. Going down to the bench, we even have quality depth. We have Javonte Williams as RB3. So, I mean, I would say Breece Hall, we're in a phenomenal situation. Beyond that, Swift, Javonte, one of those guys should be productive this next year. Wide receiver, we have Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf. I mean, productive veteran assets. Judy, Deontay Johnson, quality depth pieces. And then down there on the bench, we even have more depth with Rashad Bateman. Now, tight ends, we have Kyle Pitts. So the number 1 overall tight end in Dynasty. There's not too much to discuss. So top to bottom, this is a team that doesn't need much, right? This is a team that's pretty damn loaded. And I, of course, am willing to say things may change by the time we get to the start of the year. But as it stands currently, I'm pretty damn confident in saying this. I think we can map out this entire rookie draft. I think 101, we are going to be going through and we are going to be taking Bijan Robinson. We are then at that point, we'll have Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, the number 1 and number 2 overall running backs in Dynasty. And we have quality depth with DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams. Going down to 4, I think regardless of how Trey Lance is doing, where I'm really hoping that Trey Lance will be the starting quarterback for the 49ers, I'm really hoping that we're going to get good reports in the preseason. But even if he is, or even if he isn't, no matter what, pick 4, we are going to be taking a rookie quarterback. We don't have a QB3. Even if Lance is dominating, I still think at pick 4, whichever quarterback falls, whether or not it's Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, or CJ Stroud, I'll be completely fine going through and taking them there, locking them in as our QB2/QB3, depending on what happens with Lance. I mean, because this team is so loaded elsewhere, we really don't have to do anything else. Now, 5, I personally am going to go ahead and take Jahmyr Gibbs for a couple different reasons. 1, this is a league where we can only start 4 wide receivers, so wide receiver depth isn't going to be king. 2, because if we were looking at the other picks that we have 7 and 8, right? So if we were trying to decide between Jahmyr Gibbs or Jackson Smith-Njigba at pick 5, while personally I took JSN in all my Dynasty rookie drafts, but that's just because I'm very biased. I got to interview the guy. I'm about to order his jersey. I'm probably not the best guy to ask. I think Gibbs makes more sense here at 5 because then at 7 and 8, we're able to add in both Johnston as well as Addison. So if in this draft, say we go through and we add in Bijan Robinson, say CJ Stroud, Jahmyr Gibbs, Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, this team is loaded, both in terms of the starting lineup as well as the depth that we have. We would have so much depth at that point. I'd be looking to take some of these veterans that maybe wouldn't be hitting our starting lineup, maybe taking someone like a Rashad Bateman and honestly looking to sell him low in a package to get an upgrade somewhere else, looking to sell Elijah Moore in a package to get an upgrade somewhere else. Even if you like those players, I mean, we would just be so dominant at the top end of our roster and have so much quality young depth that, I mean, they would just be luxury pieces. Like, it would almost be better off just getting assets like 2024, 2025 picks that we are almost guaranteed to increase in dynasty value. But just overall, phenomenal team. Really, really do like it, my friend. But thank you so much. And as always, please, if there's anything that I can do for you, do not hesitate. Reach out to me. Let me know. Be super happy to help you out with anything that I can, especially if there's any way that I can improve flockfantasy.com for you, my man. But I think that's all we have for this live stream. We're going to have probably another live stream tomorrow, but the live stream tomorrow will be a Dynasty startup draft. I know we've had 1 million people asking us for a Dynasty startup, so we'll get that going tomorrow. But thank you so much again, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. Really am happy that you hung out with me this fine Wednesday night. And as always, if you want to get your Dynasty team broken down in either a podcast or a live stream, if you want to get access not only all my Dynasty rankings, but also all the Dynasty rankings of your favorite content creators, plus so much more exclusive content, you can find that all on flockfantasy.com. Make sure you're signing up with promo code FLOCK if you want 30% off any subscription and yours truly to go through and break down your team in a podcast. But thank you again. Really do appreciate y'all and really hope you have a great day.